When we were children, we were not in touch with reality like we are now. None of us were. We just floated around life as if it was a dream. But just like a dream, we can't remember much of it once we wake up and tune into the harsh realities of the real world. But today I question that reality. Is reality life, and is life real? But you remember, don't you, when you were a kid and you just acted mainly out of pure emotion and not logic so much. But as you grew up, the expectations for you increased, and your sense of wonder and adventure was absorbed by reality, whether you knew it or not. And when we mature and we take part in sin and temporary pleasures, I think that is trying to make up for something that was lost. That nirvana, that moksha, that complete understanding of all things without quite understanding them. But when we were children, we didn't know. We didn't know that we were to be robbed of that childhood later on and be trapped in a cruel world powered by human greed and selfish desires. Why is the real world so cruel at times, you ask? And why do people seek such pleasure and selfishness and greed? Drugs, alcohol, religion. Because we are trying to rediscover what was lost. We are on a quest as a species that I feel we will somehow never fulfill unless we revert back to that simplistic thinking of a child. Now, could this be at the cost of all of our reasoning and advancement? Probably it would, but would we be better? Would we be better off being that way as long as we were happy? Ask yourself that. Therefore, I've come to the inconclusive conclusion that life just might not be real. Life and reality are two different existences. The human mind and spirit essentially exist in two worlds: true happiness in life and reality. Now let me explain the difference between life and reality. Life is when you take no shame and no regret in serving only yourself, making yourself feel happy any way you can. And that is all. It's yourself. Reality is when you are constantly called on to serve the rest of the world. And the reason most people go through with reality is so that they can get to their life. We go to work every day, we finish jobs, we get things done because we want to go home to our families. We want to go on vacations. We want to play and we want to have fun. We want to get to life. Now, in the beginning of your life, you only vaguely remember how much life you had. But all living things must at some point die. So, I can feel myself dying inside each and every passing month and year. You are aging and dying not only physically but spiritually too. And as a child, because you had no responsibilities and hardly anything required of you, that means you were outside of reality. You see what I'm saying here? But as you mature and grow older, the world demands more and more of you. Schools, jobs, degrees, taxes, spouses, children. And when you grow old and finally retire, just when you think you can finally be at peace, the most demanding reality of all comes along: death. Is this a cynical and depressing view of human existence? Well, isn't that just as depressing as reality? Now, I have to say that I might be a cut above most people because I am a deeply spiritual intellectual, something you don't often see because most people are either one or the other. But I'm both, and now I realize the truth, that my biggest flaw is my ego at times, and my disdain for people because they can't wake up from reality. From their reality of demands and wars and selfishness? Or is it rather that they can't go back to sleep and once again float about in a dream that we all once had?